Salvete discipuli. In this video, we will explore an authentic ancient Latin ghost story. A Latin ghost story. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to read the Latin out loud and the English translation, and just on a few occasions I am going to draw your attention to some things in the Latin, and only those items will be things that you might have a question on your Socrative quiz about. Erat Athenis spatiosa et magna domus, sed infamis et pestilens. Among the Athenians there was a spacious and large house, but infamous and infested. Per silentium noctis sonus ferri et strepitus vinculorum procul tum e proximo auditi sunt. Through the silence of the night, sounds were carried, and a groaning of chains far away. Then they were heard close up. Mox aperibat Senex, macie et squalore confectus, qui barbam magnam et capillos villosos habebat. Soon an old man appeared, affected with poorness and squalor, who had a large beard and shaggy hair. Pedibus et manibus catenas habebat. He had chains on his feet and hands. This is actually the source of the concept of a ghost having chains. Inhabitantes domus noctes diras et non somnum habebant. The inhabitants of the house had dire nights and no sleep. Morbus et etiam mors ex timore veniebant. Sickness and even death came from fear. Deserta et damna casa in silentio remanebat. Deserted and forsaken, the house in silence remained. So the idea here is this house is now an abandoned house because everybody who has lived here keeps hearing this ghost and seeing this ghost who has chains on his hands and feet, and they got so stressed out that some of them got sick and even died, and so now no one wants to live in this house. Titulum positum est, sed nemo casam desideravit. An ad was placed, but no one wanted the house. Venit Athenas philosophus Athenodorus. The philosopher Athenodorus came to Athens. Legit titulum et pretio audito multa rogat. He read the ad, and when he heard the price, he asked a lot of questions. The idea here being that the ad has this unusually low price for this nice house, so he knows there must be something wrong with the house. Omnia audit, sed tamen casam capit. He heard everything, but nevertheless, he took the house. So the idea here is he knows that they say, oh, well, it's haunted, no one wants to live here. And he's a philosopher, and he's like thinking, oh, I don't believe in things like that. There must be a natural explanation, so I'm just going to get a great house for a great price. In vespera, Athenodorus lumen, stilum et pugilares in prima parte casae posuit. In the evening, Athenodorus put a light, a pen, and writing tablets in the first part of the house. What he's going to decide to do is he thinks, whatever people have been stressed out by, I just have to get through one night, keep my mind occupied, and I won't be scared by these natural sounds that people are misinterpreting as a ghost. I get through one night, and basically I'll have broken the spell. I own a wonderful house. Tum omnes servos dimittit. Then he dismissed all the servants. animum oculos et manum cum pugilaribus occupat. His spirit, his eyes, and his hand he occupied with the writing tablets. Quod vacua mens multos timores fingit, because an empty mind can imagine many fears. Primo silentium est. At first it was silent. Tum vincula procul audiuntur. Then chains were heard far away. Philosophus oculos non movit. The philosopher does not move his eyes. Stilo scribit. Soni in casa, tum in camera sunt. He writes with his pen. Sounds are in the house, then in the room. Athenodorus spectat, figuram videt. Athenodorus looks, he sees a shape. Now, Latin 1 students, you notice this is authentic Latin, and this actually contains nothing you haven't already learned. Maybe you don't know the word figuram, but you do know that it is accusative. It's the object of the verb videt, which means sees. And you could easily have guessed that it meant something like figure or shape. Senex stat et digito vocat. An old man stands and calls with his finger. So the idea is this old man has appeared and is kind of motioning to Athenodorus with his finger to please follow. Athenodorus stilum iterum capit, vincula audiunter super caput. Athenodorus again takes a pen. Chains are heard above his head. So Athenodorus is actually thinking, okay, you know what, this is a figment of my imagination. I'm not actually seeing a man with chains motioning with his finger to come. So he picks up his pen and he tries to ignore it. But now the old man is like standing with shaking the chains right over his head. Nunc philosophus lumen capit. Now the philosopher takes a light. Senex tarde ad januam ambulat. The old man slowly walks to the door. Again, Latin 1 students. Tarde is an adverb meaning slowly. Otherwise, this is all Latin you know, and this is authentic Latin. You've learned enough that you actually can read and understand an actual Latin story. Athenodorus etiam ambulat post senem. Athenodorus also walks after the old man. So he's actually following the old man who is now leaving the house. Where is he going? In area casae senex philosophum deserit. In the courtyard of the house, the old man deserts the philosopher, meaning he walks into the courtyard of the house, and at a certain spot, he simply vanishes. Desertus philosophos in loco herbas ponet. The philosopher, having been deserted, puts grass on the place. Now what this means is he pulls some grass out of the ground and he heaps it in a pile exactly where he saw this ghost disappear. Postero die magistratum vocat et magistratus locum effodit. The next day, he calls the magistrate, and the magistrate digs in the spot. Ossa inserta in vinculis invenit et collecta publicae sepeliuntur. Bones tied up in chains he finds, and gathered up, they are buried publicly. So what's happened here, you see, the Romans and the Greeks believed that a person, unless they received the appropriate funeral rites, they would be fated to walk the earth as a ghost. And so this person, whoever it was, he was murdered, he was tied up in chains, he was buried secretly, he never got the appropriate funeral rites, and now he's been haunting this house. All he's been trying to do is to get someone to come and find him to release him from this torment. Numquam iterum Senex videbatur. Never again did the old man appear.